thousand hours of coaching that you have done, what has
Yeah.
surprised you the most about human behavior, transformation, or change?
Ooh. What's most interesting to me is that there are different problems, different externally, people appear to have lots of different problems, but internally, it's always the same thing and it's
Mhm.
always the same solution, right? When it boils down, after I coach someone and I really get into it, usually there is a feeling they're avoiding. And because they're avoiding the feeling, what happens is, let's say you're really upset or something happened and you're right. So if there's a feeling of sadness or upset or anger or anything, it's uncomfortable. It feels bad, right? So we
Mhm.
don't want to feel bad. So immediately we go into our heads and we start making up stories and narratives and we get lost in a chain of thinking. And all of that thinking pulls us out of the present moment. So it's a feeling I want to avoid. And the way that we're wired to avoid it is we basically start going into a narrative, a story, a thinking process, and that whole thing. Now, there are two secrets to solving all of life's problems. Okay.
Okay.
Number one is in your mind, you'll have thoughts about the past, thoughts about the future, you'll have fantasies of things that aren't real. If you discard all of that thinking and return to the present, all your problems disappear. In the present
Mhm.
moment, there are no problems, right? It's true in my religious and spiritual tradition, and it's true in every spiritual tradition. Eckhart Tolle talks about it, talks about it. It's like the basis of the entry point to the spiritual path. That's the first thing I realized is all of my clients, the real problem is they're having thinking that's pulling them out of the present moment. And they're doing it because they're trying to avoid a feeling. Because if they were present, they would notice, man, I feel bad right now. I don't want to feel bad. The second secret is a technique that I coined, which I call the inner self method. Dr. David Hawkins talks about it in his book, Letting Go. He calls it the surrender mechanism. Eckhart Tolle talks about it. He calls it meditating on the pain body. But it's basically the same thing. Whenever you feel uncomfortable, you put all of your presence, all of your attention, all of your awareness into the actual feeling that's happening in your body instead of running away from the feeling and getting lost in thought land. So when we direct all our attention into the feeling disappears in like a minute or 5 minutes. The feeling dissolves in the light of your presence. So when the feeling dissolves, now you're free, you're present, you're like totally. Now there's a third three things plus psychological switch. When you start to practice presence, when you start to dissolve your negative feelings through shining the light of your presence on it, very quickly it becomes obvious that none of your negative feelings came from the outside world, right? Usually blame the outside world for how we feel. In fact, we're constantly doing this. Why am I upset? Oh, I'm upset because that person did this, because I don't have enough clients, because I'm not making enough money, because we always find something on the outside that we think we're upset about. But if it's the outside that made you upset, then how come when you're present and when you dissolve the feeling with the light of your presence, you feel totally different? It's because the outside didn't change. You changed, right?
Yeah.
So